Chapter 1, Part 3 of James Nestor's book, Breathe. So when we last left off, we were talking about how Dr. Marianne Evans did research on skulls, and she actually partnered with Dr. Kevin Boyd at the time. Over the past 4 years, over 100 skulls of the Morton collection. And what they discovered was a few things about these skulls. One, there was a symmetry in the skulls itself. There was a symmetry between the mouth and the face in a way that was very different from our current skulls. And two, in the nose and the palate, so that the spacing in the nasal cavity was a huge gap, a much larger gap than what we have today. And what they came to understand that it provided a situation where breathing was a lot easier than it is today, especially when comparing those skulls at that time with the current skulls of our time. So what that brings to mind is that there was a question that Dr. Evans had raised, and I think it's a really important question. Why would we evolve to make ourselves sick? I mean, how does a situation occur in which an environment is created like that? Well, one of the things that James Nestor does in the book, in this part of the chapter, was take us through an evolutionary journey of how the early man came to a place where we are right now. And one of the things that he brings to our attention is, in the process of them hunting, they became more advanced. And as they became more advanced, their brains enlarged, which means that as their brains enlarged, then we had less need for certain senses, like our nose or like our mouth. Like there was times people probably, like he indicates that they were eating raw food, or that they would mash their food up, and they went from mashing their food up to cooking their food. So that takes a certain intelligence to build over a period of time as we began to evolve as a human species. Now, although he makes this picture pretty clear, he then reverts back to him being on his couch in his house with these 2 silicone nose pieces wrapped in tape, and he's laying there thinking about the ancient man, and he knows that it must be difficult for his wife to be listening to him snore while he sleeps, because he can only breathe out his mouth at a time. So that's where the chapter kind of leaves off for right now. It leaves off with us thinking about that question, how do we evolve to make ourselves sick? And I think it's important to understand that this is something else that's brought to the attention of this chapter, is that evolution doesn't necessarily mean progress. Just sometimes it means change, and sometimes we're making changes in our lives that aren't the best for us, and it's important to accept that so we know how to move forward. So that's where we are. Chapter 2 is going to be, it's called mouth breathing. So here we go.